Hello and welcome back to Microsoft's Flight Simulator for part 2 of my review and first impressions of this Just Flight Piper PA-28R R. I was going to say PA-28R R3. No, it's PA-28R Arrow 3. There you go. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video. And if you have not seen part 1, in part 1 I covered the system specifications for this, the price of the aircraft, what it contained, what it had. We took a look at the modelling, the texturing, some of the sounds. We also looked at a couple of the bugs, and in fact one of the bugs that I pointed out has already been fixed, which is really nice in the cockpit. That was one that was quite obvious and it was annoying me, so that's already been fixed. This is version 0.5, not 0.4 as it was in the last video, so do bear that in mind. There have been some updates and fixes. In today's video, I'm going to be taking this aircraft off from here, Echo Golf Bravo Echo, Coventry Airport, and we are going to be doing a short flight over to East Midlands Airport, Echo Golf November X-Ray. In that flight, we're going to see what this aircraft can do. We'll obviously have a look at it on takeoff. We're going to have a look at it in cruise, climb out, descent, approach, landing. We'll try out the autopilot systems. I'm going to see what we can do. We'll try out the radio navigation systems and see just what does and does not work. Very quickly, for those people who did miss the first part, £29.99 for this aircraft, available on the Just Flight website, link in the description box below. The weather right now is not fantastic, but we should be able to still fly below the clouds, so we should be able to, perhaps 3,000 feet, we should be okay. Anyway, that is enough of me rambling on. Let's get started and let's see exactly what this aircraft can do and hear my final thoughts on whether this aircraft is worth a purchase and just how good or bad, if the case may be, it is. Right, as to match what I did before, I'm going to start this aircraft up again. I want to see if anything's changed on that. So these things are okay. I've gone ahead and checked that, so that's been done. Exterior's been checked. I've got rid of the prop, the tow bar and the tie downs, and obviously the chocks. They're all gone. So we're going to do the before engine start. This is the one we're going to go straight to. Circuit breakers are in, alternate air is off, prop lever is up to maximum. Fuel selector, we're going to select the maximum tank. What I am going to do very quickly is just check. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. Yep, we have plenty of fuel there to get us going. So we're going to go for engine start, cold engine start, open 1/2 inch. Battery and alternator switch can go on now. There we go, there and there. That should actually be off. Where's the off button for this? There we go. Beacon lights will now go on. I'm actually going to switch on the anti-collision lights as well whilst I'm at it. I'm going to bring these up. I'm going to bring the... It's kind of difficult to get to that, but I'm going to bring those lights up as well. And just because it is a little... maybe not quite that much. There we go. Just because it is a little cloudy, I'm going to bring on those as well. Let's bring the mixture right the way up, as we should. Go down, there you go. Just going to wait for that to come up. Auxiliary boost fuel pump can go on. So we're going to watch that mixture flow up now. There it goes. Then we are going to go ahead and bring that down to cut off. Now we're going to start the engine. Now, as far as I understand, the engine should actually be cranking. Should actually start. In this case, it just seems to crank. I'm not 100% certain on this, but I'm fairly sure that it should be it should be doing more than just cranking. That is actually a problem I found even on the X-plane one. Right, everything seems okay. Oil pressure is good. Fuel, oil temperature is coming up. Fuel pressure is good. We have plenty in the tanks. That is fine. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start up all of these so they are on. That can go on. We're going to switch this on to ADF. That goes on. Squawk 7000. That can now go on as well. This can go on too. There we go. We'll test the marker lights. Oops. They work. That's good. Right. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get these two already set up. So the first one I would like to set up is going to be Honolulu, which is 113.65. So quite simple on setting this up. I believe if I press that in, that goes between COM and, as you can see, VLOC, which is just going to be the nav one. So we're going to go for what was it, 113.65. There we go. I'm actually going to bring this idle down. I know it says adjust 1500. I do not think it should be at 1500, so I'm going to bring that idle down. I'm actually going to bring the props down, the mixture down. There we go. Trying not to waste any fuel or anything like that. There we go. So I'll plug that in. On this nav radio, I would like to have Daventry, which is 116.4. So let's pop in 116.4. I'm going to, since we're going to be flying away from this, I think I am probably looking at having that on nav 1, which is fine for Honolulu. I'm probably looking to get about 15 miles away from that, or something along those lines. Then we will switch over to nav 2 for Daventry. Also, I'm going to set up the ADF right now for East Midlands, which is going to be come on, we're looking for, is it 354? And that's going to be the ADF for East Midlands eastbound. Right. That looks pretty good. All the avionics looks set to me. Now all I've got to do is ensure that this is correct. And I believe that this is not correct, because the I think the altitude of this airfield should be 267, and checking earlier 267, because 1005 is the current pressure millibars. That looks good. Right, let's go ahead and do the ground check. So we'll do that, and let's do all our checks, make sure that they all work okay. So we're going to bring the throttle right the way up to 2000 RPM, where the aircraft does shake more than I think it should, but that's okay. It's fine. This isn't too bad. We'll bring back the magnetos 1. You can see the reduction there. Only about 50, 75, 90. Okay, we'll bring that forward. That's pretty good. And then we'll bring the right, we'll go straight to the right magneto only. That looks to be working fine. Bring that to both. Vacuum pump is showing the right pressure there, or the right gyro section. Oil pressure is good, oil temperature is good, fuel pressure is good, everything seems to be okay. We have the low voltage light on for some reason. I'm not sure about that. I'm going to switch that on. Why is that on? Is that supposed to be on? Oh, maybe that isn't on. Maybe it's just reflecting off that. Anyway, right. Annunciators can be tested, which is that there. Yep, they're all okay. That test is successful. Propeller, right. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's exercise the propeller. All the way down. That's good. Back to full forward. Nice and gently. Alternate air is off. Fuel pressure is still okay. And engine idle. Well, let's go see the engine idle. So the checklists are slightly different. Let's hope the engine doesn't switch off. It shouldn't switch off. 600 and... Yep, that's 650. Right, let's bring the throttles back up. Don't even have to bring the throttles up that much for idle. There we go. Okay. Before takeoff checklist, battery switches on, check. Alternator, check. Strobe lights, check. Landing light, on. Auxiliary boost fuel pump, that's one there, that's on. Selected to the fullest tank, that's fine. Engine gauges have been checked. Mixtures, full rich. Prop RPM is fully forward. Flaps set and checked. We are taking off, no flaps today. Trim has been set. Yes, trim has been set. Cabin door is closed and latched. Where's the latch for this? That's open. That's latched. Good. That looks pretty good to me. Right. So for takeoff, we are probably looking at rotate at 65, acceleration to 78, brakes up, checks unsafe light is off, okay. Flaps will go up above 300 feet. 89 knots is best rate of climb. I thought it was 92 knots, but that is okay. And then after that, we're going to just do our standard climb out, and we're actually going to level out at, I think we're going to level out at 3,000 feet, and then we'll see what we can do. So everything looks pretty good here. Let's take a quick look outside with the showcase camera, just because this could be an interesting picture if possible. There we go. Lights are on, everything's good. It's a bit cloudy, as I said, but should be good for our flight. So let's move back like that. Should we see what we can do? I'd like to set this for this one. I'd like to set to be what, 002, I guess. So we'll set that for 2 degrees. This one I would like to set for 90 degrees. I believe that's the one I'm going to fly. We should almost be there. So once we take off, all we need to do is turn. We'll turn left, and then we'll join up onto this. Everything else looks good to me. I'll set the heading bug for 090 as well, actually. There we go. And then we'll work from that. Okay, let's take off. Let's see what this aircraft is like to fly. So it's been not flown an aircraft like this in a while. So parking brake off. Was that parking brake off? Was that flaps? That was flaps. There's my parking brake one. Not that. Ah, that's my lights. Okay. I didn't know that was there. There we go. It's a little bright. There, that's better. Set myself up nicely. There we go. Let's see if the pull's correct. Yep. That's correct. So that's pretty good. So we're getting the pull to the left as expected. Whoa. positive rate, gear up. We did have a slight crosswind, but that's okay. And let's go for best climb speed at 90 knots. So look out the window, we're okay. That is not too bad. And begin the left hand turn. So one thing that I've noticed there that's quite different was that the moment I oh, we're at 100 knots now, that's fine. The moment I got the aircraft, or the aircraft reached about 65 knots, it's wanted to immediately turn. So that was pretty neat. Right, so we should have done roughly a 180 already. We're almost at 2,000 feet. There's our 180 complete. Actually, what I want to do is I want to head over 090. I can actually zoom in on this a little bit. And coming up on 3,000 feet, which is where we want to be. I'm going to bring the props back ever so slightly and now trim the aircraft down. Goes. Let's bring that nose down nicely. Very, very nice to fly this aircraft, as you would expect from a Just Flight product. And that's very nicely done. We'll pull back the throttles a bit, pull back the props a little. We'll activate the autopilot shortly. Just trying to get onto the radial for Honolulu, which I believe we're just about to. There you go. We're just coming onto the radial for Honolulu, and now should we give this a go? Autopilot engage, heading hold, there it goes, and over here we've got the little attitude hold, so you can just click there, little click spot, which let me just show you, just here where the Piper wording is, just there, and that will give you attitude hold as well. Right, a little bit of weird shaking, can you see that? That is strange. And I'll bring back the throttle just a bit more. It looks like we are doing really quite well. That is pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch this over to nav 2. I'm going to soon put it into nav mode when we start getting close to Daventry, and I want to see if it turns it in or turns it away from Daventry. That wobble is annoying, I have to admit. But we're doing a really good speed here. This is working exactly as I was hoping. The takeoff was a little bit sketchier than I would have liked it to be, but that is okay. I can switch off that. I do not know why that still is flashing. That should not be flashing. As auto extension off. Like, why is that flashing? That's something I've not yet been able to take a look at. We'll switch this off. There we go. We are doing okay. We are definitely doing okay. Let's take a look outside. from our showcase camera. There we are. Not too bad at all. Potentially the showcase camera doesn't need that focus, but oh no, the focus probably makes it look even better. I can do something along these lines to take a screenshot. I hope Microsoft Flight Simulator do improve the replay cameras. We are drifting a little bit off course. Let's turn to 095. And I'm just taking a look at the roads as well. So that looks like, is that the M6N1 junction? That is the M6N1 junction. So realistically, we should be turning north any moment now. Yeah, I think we are coming up to the M6N1 junction. Good speed on this aircraft. Autopilot's working nicely. Should we take a look at the checklist, see if there's anything else on this checklist that we need to do. So we're at cruise. We're at just over 3,000 feet. We'll lean a little. There we go. 21 to 20. There you go. That's fine. What I really want to do is have that probably at 23, like so. So we've crossed the M1 now. We should be coming up on the Daventry VOR should start moving any moments now. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch this one over to in fact, let me switch that one over to Daventry. No, let me switch this one over to Trent. So the Trent VOR is going to be the next one I'm setting up, which is going to be 115.7. And so we'll swap that in. There we go. And I would like to have that set probably to ensure that I'm on the right track here. Probably looking for 3 to 8. 3 to 8. Oh, we've just crossed the Daventry VOR. I should have been paying attention to that. So if I swap that into nav mode, we should now turn and head north. And that is actually working exactly as I want it to be working. I'm also going to set my heading bug for due north. So everything in this aircraft so far is working exactly as it should. Let's have a look at our fuel tanks. We're okay there. So every 15 minutes you should switch the fuel tank, although there is of course the option on the EFB if I switch that on for auto fuel switching. But if you want to do it yourself, every 15 minutes you need to switch between the fuel tanks. Generally that is good practice. Right, so we should be coming back up on the Daventry VOR. The shake here is weird. I'm not sure if that's a flight simulator bug or what. That's a really strange shake. For descent, I'm okay for descent with approach and everything like that. We are completely okay. And landing and everything, we should be fine. 75 knots is what we want to land with. This is actually really quite good. So it does feel. I think that the sounds are really nice. That's a weird loading circle. The sounds are really nice. The flight physics are really good as well. Although one thing that I have noticed with the flight physics is that the aircraft seems to. I'm not sure. I just think X-Plane, this identical aircraft feels a little bit more alive. I'm not sure what to really make of that. but that is what I am seeing. Let me switch this back to heading hold. Just going to do a minor course correction. Okay, we are in the right spot. Yep, I think we are in a good position here. So the spot that I've just done, this cross between Daventry 002, the 002 radial at Daventry, and the 358 radial, 328 radial on the Trent VOR is actually called Pidgeot. So Pidgeot is the intersection there that I've been looking at, and I believe that right here underneath us, is that Bruntingthorpe? I believe that's Bruntingthorpe down there, so there you go. Slowly coming back to us now. Still have a moment, so let's take another look outside. That's not too bad, is it? Get to see an airfield down there as well. Zoom out just a smidge, do that. Oh dear, that's not what I meant to do. That is not what I meant to do at all. How do I not switch on a VFR map? No. No idea what I've done anymore because I no longer have control of my... Yep, it's done it again. There are definitely some bugs here. VC. Maybe C locks the camera. There we go. Unfortunately, I'd lost the... Oh, there we go. It's back now. That does look really quite nice. I wish it would actually focus on the right thing. There you go. The aircraft is really well made. It's superbly well made. Right, we are now flying over the city of Leicester. So I'm thinking that Leicester has a little airport. We might have just flown over it. So we're going to... That's weird how the colours change suddenly. Have they got like photogrammetry in this city? Or is it just the clouds? Essentially just the clouds. I'm just trying to see. I think that is supposed to be the Leicester FC football stadium. Everyone should know that football stadium in the UK if you know anything about football, even limited amounts like I do, because Leicester City won the Premier League a few years ago. Against all odds, against all the big teams like Manchester United and all, Liverpool and Arsenal and Chelsea and Manchester City, and I was going to say Tottenham, but I think Tottenham's never actually won the Premier League. Liverpool can now say they have, although I think they don't do all too well. They're not doing all too well at the moment. So once we cross Leicester, what I'm thinking is that I should most likely, right at this point, I'm going to turn my heading back to 0, but also switch this back to nav mode and let the aircraft, where are you going? Right, stop that. That isn't what I wanted you to do at all. We also have localizer, so I am going to attempt to use the localizer. I have no idea how well this one is going to go. Okay, you just keep doing that, and we will continue flying overhead, no problems. Is it time for me to switch fuel tanks? I think it is. So I will switch to the left tank. You can see there, The right tank has lost just a little bit of fuel, whilst the left tank is fine. Let's take a look at these sunrisers. They're nice. That is very nice. Very smooth animations on those too. Do like that. Looks like the clouds are, or the weather's cleared in this area, so that is pretty nice. So I'm going to switch off the lighting inside the aircraft. So I think we do not actually, those lights are probably still required. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this one for landing at East Midlands, so it's a 109.75 I believe. So I'm going to set that, and I'm hoping that it's 109.75, 109.5, could be 109.5. 109.75 is going to be London Heathrow runway 9, runway 27 left. I'm just going to check the frequencies for this actually. Runways, open charts, reference, no, approach, there we go. So we are approaching NDB ILS runway 27. And there we go, so let's take a read of this. It is 109.35. There you go. Shows how long I haven't used that in. There we go. Localizer IEME, Echo Golf November X-ray. I will now have that set up, so that is how far we are from it. Not too far at all. You can see that we are above the glide. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to switch off altitude hold, the little trick. I'm just going to tilt the nose down just slightly and reduce the throttle just a bit to bring ourselves into a 500 foot per minute rate of descent whilst we prepare for this. And I want to bring myself down to about 2,500 feet nice and quickly. While still slowing down, I'm going to bring the throttles back. I'm now going to slow down to 120 knots. Just bring the throttles back. There you go. You can see that the aircraft is now slowing down. And let's set this to nav 1, localizer. Let's see if it brings us in. And now I'm going to slow down much further. Props can come up. There we go. Mixture goes full. Props come up. I'm now slowing down to 100 knots, and it looks like it is picking up the localizer for East Midlands. So it's put itself on the intercept trajectory. I can see East Midlands Airport, and I've got myself nicely on the glide. I can see the runway, and it is turning in fantastically. That is pretty neat. So that works really, really well. Slow ourselves down even further. So I want to slow myself down to about 90 knots for my descent. I'll use the trim a little just to lift the nose, and as we get to 90 knots I will deploy one stage of flaps. And the localizer is just a little bit off, but that's okay. Okay. Actually, it's lining itself up now. One stage of flaps. slowing down. I will now switch off the autopilot. I have control. And I will now bring this aircraft in manually. Okay, so now I'm going to find out what this aircraft's like to fly at slow speeds, bring it in with flaps for a descent. So we're going to see exactly what this aircraft is like to fly. So I have my one hand on my throttle, one hand on my control column, joystick, and we're just going to see what it's like. Drifting just a little bit. I'm surprised because the wind is only actually I don't know what the wind is. The wind was supposed to be 270 at 4. It seems like there's a little bit more of a wind than I thought there would be. As we go across this this river, it looks like is that the River Trent? Oh, River Trent could be the River Derwent. I'm not sure, it could even be the Grand Union Canal. I'm not entirely familiar with all the rivers around this area. But as we go over that river, or canal, could be the River Soar. Oh, this bit of juddering from the sim. I'm going to drop the landing gear. But flying this now, flying manually, everything seems to be working really nicely. The aircraft is handling really well. Flight Simulator's decided it's going to pause. Ooh, I'm not sure what's going on there. That was Flight Simulator, not the aircraft. And here we go. I will now go landing gear down. So let's check the drag on that, which should slow us down nicely to where I want to be, which is coming down to 75 knots. So I can increase the throttle ever so slightly as I do so. Currently still at 80 knots, doing pretty well. Slightly low on the glide, that's okay. We still have one white light. I can see the runway very clearly, so that's okay as well. It's a shame there's no replay option here, because I really would like to take a screenshot, go into a replay and take a screenshot of me bringing this aircraft down. This is very smooth. I am very impressed actually with how smooth this aircraft is to bring down. Yeah, definitely a crosswind here. You can just see it. There we go, and we're down. Little bit. Oh, go on. Oh dear. Aileron into the wind. Yep, I didn't know about that crosswind. But that was pretty good. Only when I saw I just saw the windsock, and that told me that there is definitely a crosswind that I was not expecting. I thought it was going to be a complete headwind, 4-knot headwind. It looks like that felt something like a 6-knot crosswind, to be fair. But that is the aircraft down, and that really worked. I'll tell you one thing I did forget to do. I didn't switch on the fuel pump coming in to land. That could have been a disaster. That could have definitely been a disaster, but that is it. We are down on the ground at Echo Golf November X-Ray in one piece. Fairly smooth, not my greatest landing. I've definitely landed aircraft better than that. Though that being said, as I said, I didn't even know that. What on earth? That looks like a. I'm parking up next to that. I didn't even know that we had that crosswind until I was coming in. I'm thinking, why is this aircraft seeming to pull? Just seems to be pushing over. Right, anyway, so what are my final thoughts on this particular aircraft? Well, put it quite simply, that is a really nice Spitfire. Is that a Spitfire or a Hurricane? No, I think that's a Spitfire. Although the nose of it doesn't look. No, the nose isn't right, so no, it's not a Spitfire. It looked like a Spitfire, but that section there doesn't look right at all. It's probably a Hurricane. Anyway, I don't know what that's doing here. Right. So what can I say about this aircraft? Well, first of all, it is really, really good. It's a really well-made aircraft, exactly as you would expect from Just Flight. Really good quality. Everything about the aircraft works as you would expect. Switching off this aircraft, let me think. Switch all of that off. Yeah, everything works as you would expect. It looks good, it feels pretty good. I have to say that the X-Plane version probably feels a smidge better, but that has nothing to do with Just Flight themselves. That is just the way the physics are, I believe, in Microsoft Flight Simulator. They've already worked on the bugs. As you can see, that is no longer hidden and there isn't a massive gap there. I'm curious why that's just black though. Like, actually it isn't black, there is something there, it just seems to disappear a little. Everything seems to work nicely. The GPS unit, the Garmin GNS 530 that I tested today, works nicely. All the controls work. I like the fact that the markers work. Everything here works, looks good. I'm not sure about that one flashing light. I feel like I'm missing something, and I just do not know what. But yep, everything else looks really, really nicely done. Very, very impressed. This is exactly the kind of aircraft that needs to be in Flight Simulator. Very, very much so the kind of aircraft that needs to be in Microsoft's Flight Simulator. This is exactly what it can do. Oh, apparently if I switch off the battery, it tells me that I'm done. Well, thank you, Microsoft Flight Simulator. Do I recommend this aircraft? Definitely. For somebody who has a Microsoft Flight Simulator and you're looking for a really high quality aircraft, general aviation aircraft, this is what you want. This is definitely what you want. Top quality product from Just Flight, highly detailed, very nice to fly, as Pipers are. Very easy to fly as well, very easy to learn in, very intuitive controls, nothing too dramatic with the aircraft. Everything works as you would expect, so I definitely recommend picking this aircraft up. £29.99, link in the description. Do I think it's worth the price itself? I think so. I think that when you are purchasing aircraft for flight simulators, you tend to stick to just a few. So for example, unless I'm reviewing them and you know, companies are giving me review products, I am not going to be purchasing every single aircraft that I see. I mean, you can if you're a connoisseur of aircraft, if you want to say that, but in flight simulators. But no, if you want to collect aircraft, then yes, that's great. But if you want to pick select aircraft for single engine, this is the aircraft that you want, and my thoughts haven't changed since X-Plane on that. This is still the aircraft I believe you want. This or the Turbo Arrow version, which I believe is coming up soon, or you could get both. I think if you buy this and when the Turbo Arrow comes out, I think there's going to be a massive discount or something for those people who have this already. So I think that is going to be a great deal. Twin engine, I'll have to have a look to see what twin engine aircraft is going to be good for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And of course then we'll have a look at jets and all of that. So there we go, that is my review of this aircraft. And Too Long Didn't Watch, buy it if you want a really good high quality aircraft, because this is exactly that, high quality. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on flight simulators. Obviously I haven't flown in a long time, so this flight, I do apologize for the flight not being great. The last aircraft I flew was that DC Designs F-15, and before that, I have no idea when I last flew. I think it was in X-plane or something. No, it was me testing with the Cessna, and the Cessna is just the standard Microsoft Flight Simulator one with no real complicated physics or anything like that. So there you go. If you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon at www.patreon.com/ecgadget. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really help me out. And also, you can find me on social media at ecgadgetlp for both Twitter and Instagram. Next up, there is going to be a video. I'm going to start reviewing the Just Flight BAE 146 in X-Plane 11. Yes, that simulator still has a lot of life in it, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And then after that, if I do get a chance, I'm going to be doing a direct comparison between X-Plane 11 and Microsoft Flight Simulator using this PA-28R. So there you go. Make sure you stay tuned for all of that. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time.